Of course, here's a polished rewrite of your scene. The Global Innovation Leadership Summit in Geneva was electric. Billionaires, presidents, scientists, the most powerful minds on earth gathered under one roof. Then the host's voice rang out across the grand hall. Next up, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. A brief pause. Cameras zoomed in. The youngest African leader stood up, calm and focused. In his brown military uniform and signature beret, he walked to the microphone. His voice was steady. Africa is not the future. Africa is the present. We do not beg, we build. Gasps. Applause flickered from one corner. But then came a chuckle. Seated on the panel beside him, Elon Musk leaned toward his mic, a smirk playing on his lips. "That's cute," he said. "You want to build rockets while your people don't have clean water." Awkward laughter rippled through the audience. A heavy silence followed. The moderator froze. Cameras swept the hall. Tension gripped the room. Was this the moment everything would unravel? But Traoré didn't react immediately. Instead, he did something unexpected. He slowly looked around the hall, eyes scanning the presidents, tech giants, journalists, the rulers of the modern world. Then he turned back to Elon and smiled. "I don't expect someone born in comfort to understand the hunger of the forgotten," Traoré said, his voice still calm. A gasp escaped from the audience. "We are not trying to build rockets to Mars while Earth is broken. We are trying to repair the soil where our mothers bled to raise us." A hush fell over the room. "You mock thirst," he continued, "but you've never stood beneath a burning sun, waiting for a government truck to deliver water. I remember the faces of those children. I lead because of them." The camera cut to Elon. His smirk was gone. Suddenly applause erupted, first from one corner, then another. Some African delegates wiped away tears. The host looked rattled. Yet Traoré's voice remained composed, not angry, but full of quiet pride. But the moment wasn't over. As the applause faded, an elderly woman stood from the third row. She wore traditional West African cloth. She wasn't a delegate. She wasn't on the guest list. Security moved swiftly toward her. Traoré raised his hand gently. "Let her speak." Trembling, the woman spoke softly. "My son died trying to cross the sea to Europe. He believed Africa had no future. He thought we were forgotten." The room froze. Even Elon lowered his eyes. "But today, hearing you," she continued, tears streaming, "I feel like I have a piece of him back. You reminded me why we matter." Without hesitation, Traoré stepped down from the panel and embraced her. Cameras flashed. The video feed went global. Social media exploded. And in that moment, Africa spoke to the world, not with anger but with dignity. "Would you like a few variations? For example, more cinematic version, more intense political drama version, more emotional/viral speech version. Just tell me the tone you're aiming for." Of course, here's a polished rewrite of your powerful scene. This wasn't a debate, one viral tweet read. This was a resurrection of dignity. But behind the curtains, Elon Musk wasn't done. Leaning close to his assistant, his smile gone, he whispered, "I want every major outlet to cut this clip now." His assistant hesitated. "But sir, it's trending worldwide." "Exactly," Elon growled. "I won't let some soldier from Burkina Faso lecture the world like that." Meanwhile, backstage, Captain Traoré stood quietly, unaware of the storm brewing. An aide approached, holding out a phone. "Sir, Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok. Your speech is everywhere. People are crying. Schools in Kenya, Sudan, Haiti, they're playing your words to students." But Traoré didn't smile. His voice remained low, steady. "One speech won't fix centuries of silence. This isn't victory. It's only the beginning." Back on stage, Elon returned to the microphone, forcing a smile. "Let's not get too emotional," he said to the audience. "We're here for solutions, not sub-stories." The room stiffened. Journalists exchanged sharp glances. Then calmly, Traoré stepped forward again. "With all due respect," he said softly, "it's our tears that watered the roots of your progress." A thunderstorm of silence swept the hall. Elon knew. This wasn't over thousands of miles away, in a dusty village near Ouagadougou. A young boy named Suleimani sat barefoot outside his home, clutching a small cracked radio. His father was long gone. His mother sold vegetables at the market. But tonight, something was different. The boy fiddled with a dial. Through the static, Traoré's voice broke through. "Africa isn't broken, it's just unheard." Suleimani froze, clutching the radio closer, eyes wide and wet. "Mama," he called, "he's talking about us." His mother, wiping her hands, sat beside him. Her lips trembled. "You think they'll listen to him?" the boy whispered. She stared up at the stars, voice soft. Maybe this time they will." Back at the summit, the world was watching. On TikTok, one clip had surpassed 40 million views. On Instagram, the image of Traoré embracing the grieving mother was reposted by celebrities, athletes, even US senators. But the most unexpected call came to the summit command center. The White House, an aide rushed to Traoré. "Sir, President of the United States wants to meet you." Aboard Air Force One, a senior advisor briefed the American president. "The African soldier who embarrassed Elon, sir. It's more than that. He's shifting global opinion." The president paused, watching the live feeds. Back at the summit, Elon's assistant approached him again. showing him a screen filled with headlines. Sir, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, they're all running it. Full coverage. Elon's jaw tightened. Quietly, he texted someone. A man in Washington. A man with power. The real battle was just beginning. Would you like a few variations too? For example, more cinematic thriller version, more political conspiracy version, more emotional, viral movement version. Just tell me your vibe. I can sharpen it accordingly. Absolutely. Here's a polished rewrite of your extended scene, keeping the drama and emotional power while sharpening the flow. He's not just a president. The woman from the third row whispered to a journalist, he's a mirror. Around the world, headlines blazed. Traoré redefines global leadership. African leader silences Musk with dignity. The voice the world needs to hear. But behind the scenes, Elon Musk seethed. His jaw clenched as he paced a private lounge, watching the viral clip spread like wildfire. No African captain should have this kind of influence, he hissed. In Silicon Valley circles, his empire was built on controlling narratives. This was slipping. He tapped into his private contacts. Leak something, discredit him quietly. At the same moment, outside the summit hall, rain fell softly, clean, real. Captain Traoré stood alone, letting the rain wash over him. A young janitor passed by, eyes wide. You're the man who made Elon look small, the boy said. Traoré chuckled, gently. No, he replied, I just made my people look tall. Far away, in a secure room in Washington, a powerful man read Elon's encrypted message. He smiled coldly. Dig into his past. Find something. What they uncovered could have shattered many men. But Traoré wasn't like others. His life was an open book. Poor beginnings, hard losses, quiet resilience. Inside the summit, the tension crackled like static. Elon sat rigid, watching social media feeds flood with Traoré's calm, unflinching words. His whispered orders echoed in his mind. Find something, anything. But as the hours passed, it became clear. Traoré's vision wasn't fading, it was growing. Schools across Africa played his speech to children. Families huddled around radios, tears of pride replacing years of despair. Back in his hotel room, Traoré sat alone, exhausted. He opened an old photo album, black and white snapshots of his village, his mother's smile, the friends he'd lost. These were his roots. They gave him the strength to speak. A knock startled him. An aide stood at the door. Sir, the US president requests a private meeting. Traoré's heart pounded. Was this an honor or a trap? He thought of the millions watching, hungry for hope. He nodded. Let them watch. Let the world see what leadership looks like. In a stark Washington conference room, Captain Traoré sat across from the President of the United States. Cameras were barred, but whispers leaked instantly. The President was calm, cautious. Your words have moved millions, but some in my administration see you as a threat. Traoré smiled softly. Leadership is never easy. Truth unsettles those who profit from silence. They spoke for hours about Africa's potential, innovation, and the kind of future the world was too timid to imagine. Meanwhile, Elon's frustration mounted. Focus on his youth. Question his experience. He ordered, dispatching urgent messages. Fake headlines flooded the internet. Who is this captain? Is his vision naive? His past holds secrets, but the people saw through it. Radio hosts in Dar es Salaam, students in Lagos, mothers in Ouagadougou, told the real story of a boy who grew up with little, lost friends to war and poverty, yet dared to dream. Traoré watched the attacks but didn't retaliate. Instead, he organized a live global Q&A. Sitting before a simple camera, his voice steady, he said, I am not perfect, but my heart beats for my people. If that scares some, it only shows how much change is needed. Across continents, people logged on. Tears streamed down faces. His calm truth pierced through the noise. Just as the campaign against him seemed unstoppable, an unexpected voice rose in his defense. A top American tech CEO, known for influence and reach, tweeted, leaders who speak truth with courage deserve respect no matter where they come from. The summit was over. The cameras turned off, but a quiet question echoed worldwide. Who truly leads when words spark a movement? And who will be remembered when the world forgets the noise? The world had just witnessed not a political speech, but the birth of something far bigger. Would you like me to now also prepare a screenplay-ready version for film, TV adaptation, a novel-style version, more emotional depth, a Netflix political thriller vibe version? Just tell me which tone you're aiming for, and I can craft it accordingly. Of course, here's a polished rewrite of your powerful next chapter. The tweet exploded across every platform. Leaders who speak truth with courage deserve respect no matter where they come from. Suddenly, Traoré's message was breaking through the noise. The summit organizers quickly invited him back, this time for a special panel discussion alongside Elon Musk himself. The stage was set for what the world anticipated as a dramatic showdown. But Traoré remained calm. Before the cameras rolled, he gathered his team and spoke softly. This is not a battle. It's a chance to build bridges. Millions tuned in live, breathless, waiting to see whether anger or grace would win the day. As the panel began, Elon Musk leaned forward, his trademark smirk ready for another jab. But Traoré's gaze was steady, unshaken. With measured words, he began, innovation doesn't belong to one country or one man. It lives in every child who dreams of a better tomorrow, whether in Silicon Valley or a small village in Burkina Faso. A hush fell across the hall. Even Elon shifted slightly. Traoré continued, mocking others does not build the future. Listening and learning does. The tension dissolved into something unexpected, respect. Instead of a clash, the conversation transformed into a masterclass on humility and vision. By the end, thunderous applause erupted not only in the room but across millions of screens worldwide. For a brief moment, even Elon's expression softened, a rare glimpse of reflection. The summit's second panel became an instant global phenomenon. Every major news outlet broadcast clips of Traoré's calm strengths. Across small villages in Burkina Faso, children gathered around old radios, wide-eyed with hope as their parents whispered. Our leader spoke with courage and grace on the world's biggest stage. In classrooms across the United States, teachers played his speech, sparking discussions about respect, unity, and global responsibility. But not everyone welcomed the rising tide. Some politicians dismissed the moment as fleeting headlines. Others, quietly unnerved, questioned how a young African captain could captivate the world so thoroughly. Traoré, however, stayed focused. His mission was bigger than politics. It was about the people, those who now dared to believe. In the days that followed, he penned a heartfelt open letter to the world. This is not about me. It is about all of us, the future we build together, the hope of every child who dares to dream. Millions read his words. Tears flowed freely, as hope and possibility lit hearts across continents. Yet with the rising support came mounting pressure. Each morning brought fresh headlines, skeptics pushing back, powerful interests resisting change, and the weight of millions depending on him to succeed. One night, alone in his office, Traoré sat quietly, staring at an old photo of his late father, a humble farmer who could never have imagined his son standing before the world. His voice broke as he whispered into the silence, I must not fail. The tears that followed were raw and quiet, not of weakness, but of the heavy burden of carrying so many hopes. But then he heard his mother's voice from long ago. Strength is not just about fighting, my son, it's about standing tall when the world expects you to fall. By morning, Traoré emerged renewed. The world was watching and he was ready at the United Nations. Standing before a full assembly for the first time, Captain Traoré spoke simply, but powerfully. We live in a world connected by dreams, not borders. Africa is not asking for charity or pity. We are offering partnership, innovation, and hope. He called on world leaders to invest not out of guilt, but from shared vision. Africa's young people are not a burden. They are an untapped force of brilliance, creativity, and courage. If we build together, we all rise. The hall erupted in a standing ovation. The world was no longer just watching, it was listening, and a quiet revolution had begun. One born not from anger, but from dignity. Would you like me to keep building this? For example, a next chapter as the movement grows in escalation into a full global political thriller, or a more Netflix series vibe cinematic arc. Tell me a vision. We can turn this into something epic. Absolutely. Here's a polished rewrite of this next chapter, keeping its emotional power and cinematic flow. The room erupted in applause. Some stood, others wiped away tears. Traoré's message was crystal clear. True progress is not built on dominance but on respect, collaboration, and listening. News anchors called it a defining moment in modern diplomacy. Commentators debated it on every network. Social media buzzed with millions of posts. But beyond the headlines, something deeper stirred. For the first time, many felt the tides turning. And for Captain Traoré, this was only the beginning. The night before his biggest speech, the world seemed to hold its breath. In a quiet hotel room, far from the dazzling lights and cameras, Traoré sat alone with his thoughts. He thought of his childhood running barefoot through dusty streets, studying by candlelight on nights without electricity, watching his mother's quiet strength. The faces of those he had vowed to serve filled his mind. His heart was heavy, but steady. He sat at a small desk and began writing, not a speech but a private letter to himself and his people. A reminder of why he must stand strong if my voice falters tomorrow. No, it is because I carry the hopes of millions on my shoulders. But I will speak not for myself but for every child who dreams of a better day. Tears streamed quietly down his face, not from weakness but from the overwhelming weight of love and responsibility. That night, sleep came slowly, but morning would not wait. The day of the summit arrived. The grand hall overflowed with the world's most powerful leaders, innovators, and media. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation. When Captain Traoré stepped to the podium, the room fell silent. His voice was calm, but every word burned with the fire of a man who refused to be ignored. Africa is not a problem to be solved, he began. It is a continent of solutions, waiting to shine. He spoke of innovation not as a luxury for the privileged, but as a right for every child with a dream. Innovation lives in our labs, in our schools, in our hands. He spoke of unity, of a future where partnerships replaced pity, where collaboration replaced condescension. That his words unfolded. Many in the audience wiped their eyes, moved by the raw, unfiltered honesty. When he finished, the applause wasn't just polite, it was thunderous. It was a standing ovation that echoed far beyond the walls of the summit. This was not just a speech. It was a declaration of dignity, of hope, of dreams long denied, finally rising. In the days that followed, millions watched, the moment replayed. Over and over, Trops.com's strength had shifted something profound, not just in politics or technology, but in hearts. He showed the world that true leadership isn't loud insults or hollow boasts. It's quiet courage, unwavering hope, deep respect, and an unshakable love for people. And now, the story rests in your hands. If you felt the power of Trops' journey, if his strength moved you, join this movement. Subscribe for more stories that challenge the world's view of leadership. Like this video if you believe in dignity and hope. And most importantly, comment below. Share your feelings, your dreams, or how this story touched you. Let's create a global community that lifts each other up. Would you like me to write the next chapter of Trops' Rise, a final episode climax for a series or an epic film? Ending version. Just say the word, we can keep building this story into something truly cinematic.